I'm so excited, guys. It is definitely nighttime. It's late, and this baby decided to hatch. It's so funny. I was just posting a short about the baby hatching, and then all of a sudden I hear loud chirping sounds, and it just popped out of its egg. Now it seems that he's gotten stuck on his back, but I'm going to let him be and see if he'll roll back over, which I'm sure he will. Baby chicks are so funny and wobbly when they're first born. I'm really excited. So we're going to keep a few of these chicks and then sell the rest, but we think that we're going to actually keep and raise pretty much all of them. And so, with the exception of if we just get overrun with roosters, but these are fairly small chickens. And the lady we got them from, she had all really small chickens. She had some fizzled Cochins, some Old English crosses. They were all fairly small, and the smallest rooster only weighed like 1.5 to 2 pounds. And my boys were carrying him all over the place. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see the different size chicks there are and how big they grow up to be and exactly what they look like. Okay, so I'm actually going to end up opening this up and helping this chick out because I'm a little concerned that he's not flipping back over. It's okay, little guy. Look at that baby. Move this other egg out of the way a little bit, huh? You can see the egg next to him starting to pip too. Oh. I'm not really worried about the humidity because it's actually a little higher than it needs to be, so it's going to vent it just a small amount. I was really curious whether or not these babies would end up with 5 toes because some of the parents definitely have 5 toes, but who knows what the feather patterns are going to look like because some of them are frizzled and some are not. And I didn't really see every chicken that she had, but I did see that very few of them looked to be large chickens. I think she had 1 or 2 that were buff and lavender Orpington, so that would be a cool, interesting mix, but the only rooster I saw was fairly small. Now, some of these could very well be full-size, or they could be a mix of bantam and full-size chickens. Maybe we'll get a mid-sized chicken. It's all speculation at this point. The only thing I know for sure is that all of these eggs are gorgeous. There's one white egg, which I'm okay with white eggs, because you can see through them fairly well during the hatching process. And all the rest of them are creams and browns, blues and greens. And honestly, I didn't know what to expect because obviously I could only see through the white egg, and it looked viable. One of the eggs was nasty. It was leaking a few days ago, so I took it out when I took the egg turner out, and it was stuck in the egg turner. And so I just didn't know what to expect or how many were viable because I couldn't see through them to candle them because of how dark a lot of the eggs are. And I'm just really excited to see the different combinations of chickens that are going to hatch over the next couple of days. You are really floppy. Honestly, this one almost looks like a buff Orpington chick. It really does. And it's actually a fairly large chick. So maybe. But it came from a green egg. So it's obviously some kind of mix. Because I'm pretty sure buff Orpington lay brown eggs. And this one is the mint green egg. Kind of a sage green almost. Too. Mint, sage. Somewhere in between there. I'm really not sure which one. You're loud. I noticed it doesn't have any yolk sac still attached to it, which is really good. So absorbed it really well. Its feathers are a bit curly, so I wonder if it's just because it's wet or maybe it is a frizzle. And that would be really interesting to see too. And let's go ahead while we have this open. Some of them are a little dirty still. So that blue egg right here is pipping. And I think you can actually see just how blue it is. The camera looks like it's showing it really well from my end. Guess we'll see once it gets uploaded. So that baby is pipped. And let's see, what else? I think there was one. Yeah, look at that one's pipped pretty well too. And the blue egg, I could actually hear the other baby until this guy hatched. It was really loud. And I think there was another one that was pipped, but I don't see which one it is. You're so loud, little baby. Yeah. So I was concerned about these babies being so small and going in with our other baby chickens, which we've only had for a week. But I was looking at the other baby chicks today, and they're also incredibly small still. They're smaller than this newly hatched chick, and yet they have a good amount of feathers on their wings. Why are you so wobbly? I'm used to ducks, and they definitely don't flop around like this when they hatch. Actually, while I'm in here, can I please look at your little feet?
One of my favorite YouTubers, Daddy was unlucky because he couldn't get a...
This baby has four toes, actually, so nothing crazy. My son came in here and telling me about his one of his favorite YouTubers thought he was unlucky because he couldn't get what he needed on the game. So they like to watch certain YouTubers play their game, and I let them as long as it's not inappropriate. There are definitely some decent game channels out there. Hi! So I'm gonna close this because I don't want to let all the humidity out, and also because I want that baby to hold in some heat and dry off a bit. So let me go ahead and show you. I don't see any other pipped eggs, but you can kind of see the various shades of color in all of these. Really pretty eggs. I truly have no idea what to expect. It's okay, little baby. I'm a little worried that it's gonna flip back over, to be honest. And I'm going to go ahead and take this eggshell out while I already have it open to make a little bit more room. You can see it pretty much absorbed the entire yolk sac. And I'm probably going to leave it shut for the rest of the night and tomorrow until it's time to get this baby out. And by then, hopefully, we'll have some more chicks. And I'm actually going to run and show you what the other chicks look like and why I'm not concerned, because they're incredibly small. Okay, so let's see if we can get this baby to stay still. But if you can see, this baby has some really good amount of feathers on its wings. Almost looks like an Easter egger chick, but its wings are already really well feathered and they're abnormally small. Like, this chick is actually probably about the same size as the chick that just hatched, and there's 3 of these guys. So I'm amazed at just how small it is, and we were concerned. We do have a separate box we could put the new hatchlings in until they kind of get their bearings and can walk around well. But I was concerned that these guys would be so big compared to the new hatchlings, especially when they get a little older, to all go outside in the same area. Because a duck a week older than another duck is a substantial difference. But I'm really thinking that these are also some type of bantam breed because they're extremely small. I'm not even sure you can tell just how small they are in the video. We have had chickens in the past, and none of them were this tiny except for maybe our old English bantams. Which I'm pretty certain this isn't an old English bantam because it is a hatchery bird. We got it from our local feed store, and I did make a video about that. But I don't really know what it is. And I've been looking at some of the chicks that it could have possibly been, but they don't even remember what type of chick it was, so we don't really know what to expect. So if you have any ideas, please let me know, because we are unbelievably curious as to what type of bird these 3 are. And hi, Sammy.
What type of bird is that?
I have no idea. My husband has seen them, and he's even been like, "Are we sure we didn't get like a partridge or a quail chick?" Because he was asking me that today. He's like, "Maybe it's a chucker," and I'm like, "It's not a chucker, babe. They look different, you know." So it's just a really small chicken. They were sold to me as chickens. I know it's not a guinea because the only other options that were at the feed store were guineas when we were there. So I have it on good faith that that's definitely a chicken. And it looks like you're doing a good job of pouring the tea, buddy. You have it. Great job. Great job. But I have no idea.
Too much and I don't want this.
You can even see it getting little tail feathers.
I didn't want this much. I want to put milk in it too.
Well, drink a little bit of it and then you can put some milk in it. So you can barely hear this one tweeting. Most of all of that chirping is that tiny chick in that incubator, which is just wild. And I don't want to take him out till he's fully dried. He is freaking out. So it's going to be really fun trying to sleep tonight with these baby birds.
Freaking out?
Making all this noise. I don't know. Probably because he's the first one to hatch and he just doesn't have anybody to cuddle with. Sad, huh? That's okay. I hear the baby. Even Lexa's like, Mommy, the baby's crying. She hears the baby. Hi, little one. Look how tiny it is, even compared to my hand. We've had this baby for a week now.
Even mine.
And compared to your hand. Be gentle with it, because it's a little baby.
I'm telling them.
Look how little it is compared to your hand.
It's so small.
Yeah, we both have fairly small hands, but obviously your hands are smaller since you're way younger. Oh, look at this feather pattern. Aren't they gorgeous?
Yes, that's it.
So many feathers and they're so long already. Oh, okay, so I'm going to put this baby bird up, and in a couple of days we'll do an update of all the chicks that have hatched. But I'm really excited about the babies hatching and also to kind of see what they all are. When this one grows up, seeing exactly what kind of bird it is, and definitely seeing what the other ones are too, since they're not from our chickens, they're eggs, and she had such a big mix of chickens. Who knows what they're gonna look like? It's just kind of like picking out trail mix pieces, folded, and then trying them, I guess. I know that's a weird comparison, but that's all I can really think of. So I'm going to let you guys go. It's already getting pretty late, but I'm going to put this baby back in its box with its other two siblings, and maybe we'll figure out exactly who everyone is and get to show off the new babies. So the first one looks like it's going to be a yellow colored chick. Look at those eye stripes though. So pretty, huh? You're such a pretty baby. Alright guys, well y'all have a great night. Thank you for joining me in my weird conversation about our hatching chicks. So we are on day 2 of hatching, and so far 3 babies are out. This is the third baby, this little, it's kind of a blackish gray color on top and a yellow creamy color on the bottom. And this baby also has yellow legs and only 4 toes, so it looks like we may have gotten a couple of larger breed chicks after all, because the first 2 that hatched were pretty large. They are actually very large for tail chicks, and they have kind of a buff Orpington color, which she did have some buff Orpington, so that's really possible. And I only remember that because her buff Orpington ran up to greet us, was so super friendly. So I'm really excited to kind of see who else hatches. This one's really tired still. Let's see, it's just kind of laying there, being quiet and resting. Which they do that. If your babies seem lethargic after hatching, do not worry. Babies are really sleepy when they hatch. It's a lot of work getting out of those eggs. So this one came out of one of the bright blue eggs, like one of these. And so its egg's slightly brighter, but it's kind of a powdery blue color, I guess. And so I'm really excited. The 2 that look like buff Orpingtons, so they actually came out of green eggs. So they are very much a crossbreed with something else, because buff Orpingtons don't lay green eggs. So I am kind of excited to see how they'll grow to be. Maybe we'll get some really cool egg colors. I mean, we have brown, cream, green, shades of blue, and different shades, like a lighter shade of green, and over here, this is kind of more of a deep shade of green, and it's so deep you can't really see it on the camera, because it almost looks brown, but it's actually like a weird color grade. I am curious if maybe mixing some of the brown with the green and blue layers, we can get different colors, which you can, that's how genetic works, but I'm not for certain like what color genetics the chicks will have, because just because they hatch from a color egg doesn't mean that they don't have different egg genetics, especially when you have a flock with a mixed egg color. You can get one that hatches from a blue egg, but its mom, say, lay brown eggs, so they lay like a tinted, like a darker green color, or a darker blue-green, or even kind of a brownish shade with a hint of blue in it. There are just so many options, there really are. I've seen eggs go anywhere from white, powder blue, all different shades of green, to eggs that were mixed with, say, some green or blue eggs and copper morans, and they were the deepest shade of forest green I have ever seen. So when these babies get older, there are going to be a lot of options for egg colors and a colorful basket based off of these eggs. But the reality is that we're just kind of raising them. For one, they're going to help till up the garden and the ground, and it'll just be good for soil health. They can kind of dig up those things and turn the soil where the ducks can't. The ducks tend to kind of stamp around and flatten out everything and create like a muddy mess, and also their feces is really runny, so when they poop it just makes a mess again. And ducks, chickens are really good about digging out with their little feet and using their claws to really dig into the soil and kind of loosen it up instead of tamping it down. And I think that's pretty interesting to know. Now, ducks can dig too. They dig out their nest in the soil. They have really sharp claws and everything else, but they don't tend to dig when they're searching for food quite as much. They do kind of splash through and dig in the water, some in the muddy parts of the meadowy areas in our yard a little bit, but they just don't, I don't think, turn soil quite as well as chicks do and chickens do. And so I think in the garden paths and things like that, the chickens would be better to kind of turn that soil and get all of the bugs, insects, and grass that are kind of trying to take over the paths and eating them. It's a really cool way to turn a job that we have to do and all that waste material into food for our animals. And I think that they actually really enjoy getting to be active and doing all that. Hi, baby. Looks like he's starting to move around a little bit. I have no idea which ones are males and females. I think we at least have one rooster so far, because one of the cream colored chicks, it's actually more of a bright yellow, I'll have to show you in a minute, has a pretty prominent comb for just being hatched at some point overnight. And we already took those two out because they are just moving everywhere. They're very active, so we want to give these babies time to rest. And you can see there are a couple more eggs hatching. Let's see. Well, I know there are. Oh, here's some over here. So we'll see what happens. So here are two of the eggshells. I already threw one out. You can see I'm already been out in the dirt this morning. But you can kind of see the shade of blue and the shade of green. And they come in different shades. This blue's a little brighter than the first chick that hatched was. And this is kind of an interesting, maybe sage green. It's really pretty color. Actually, the first egg hatched out of a greenish colored egg. And so, what I do with these, I don't just throw them away, and they're pretty clean. You can see they hatch pretty clean. I'll compost these and let them break down, and also let the worms eat them and everything else, and turn it into soil. So none of this gets wasted on our homestead. What are you gonna name it?
Its name is gonna be white chocolate.
White chocolate. We have a lot of food named animals, don't we? Look at that one in the back. It's cream colored, but it has like weird some specks on its back there.
Yeah, we have one named duck named Charlie.
So guys, I don't know if you can tell, but the day-old chicks are taller than the chicks that we've had for a minute.
Oh yeah.
And we've had those chicks for over a week, so you can kind of see just how small they are. They really do look like cream leg bar chicks. We're going over some of the birds in McMurray Hatchery. Yeah, they see it. And they have the coloring of cream leg bars. We did think Americanas And they do have some really tiny Americanas, but I don't know. They just don't look like any Americanas we've ever raced whatsoever. So I'm really leaning more towards cream leg bar, but they also kind of have that partridge coloring. And if they are cream leg bar, then we'll have one male and two females. But they don't have any floofy crust on their head yet, so I guess we'll wait and see what happens.
I need to get past.
So my oldest was just pointing out that these guys are actually quite fluffy. And I think he's right. They are pretty fluffy compared to the other ones. Oh, they're so funny. So maybe this one does have some of the frizzle gene because they are pretty highly crossed birds. Because you see its feathers are kind of weird looking. So I don't know. Does anybody have like frizzle cross birds that come from like a frizzle parent and a parent that's a larger breed that has straight normal feathers? Because I would be really interested to see a couple of those crosses.